Alright, so today I've got the second model in my IOD series of ACs for you guys. Now, if you don't remember, the IOD series is my personal favorite builds, each with their own custom paint and decaling job with a Lovecraftian theme to them, of course. Now, IOD-2 is a reverse jointed, close combat specialist, with a heavy focus on being able to dish out good damage while avoiding most incoming damage, right? This is a build I initially designed to help me grind out S ranks, and when I was actually grinding this out, it proved very, very effective. This build got me probably most of my S ranks, to be honest. Very, very good build. Now, as for the build itself, just a quick rundown. Like before, in the previous build, IOD-1, this build is double triggering laser handguns. This is, again, my favorite primary weapon in the game. I love the laser handguns, especially double triggered. They do good damage output, decent impact. You can basically fire them as much as you want. I've literally never ran out of ammo with them, just to say that. But they're pretty hard to overheat, and you can even charge them up for a pretty good amount of burst damage, but it does lock you down, so I don't really do it very often. And of course, on the back, we've got the two big missile pods, right? The 10 missile launchers. These are my favorite missile pods in the game. And again, they're big, heavy missile launchers, so they do slow the build down quite a bit. But I think the damage output and the impact output, along with just the general pressure, is definitely worth the trade-off. It does require me to use the sort of heavier medium, maybe they're Mind Beta or Mind Alpha, maybe they're Mind Gamma reverse jointed legs, but definitely worth the trade-off in my opinion. Again, they do a ton of damage, especially if you just fire a full volley of missiles at a staggered boss or something like that. They do an absolute ton of damage if all 20 missiles hit. Really, really, really good. And again, this build was mainly designed for getting S ranks, so I definitely wanted big damage output while not sacrificing as much mobility as possible. So I didn't want anything that locked me down. So any sort of like cannons or anything that lock you down while you fire them were just out of question. And I eventually settled on the missile pods so that I could continue firing them. And then you're pretty hands off. You just kind of press them and they just kind of go. Again, I just felt it worked out really well for what I wanted. So, but that's enough talking about. Let's go ahead and get into the details of the build. But first, we'll take a quick look at the paint job as well. I'll go over the details there, and then we'll get into the assembling. Alright, so first, a quick look at the paint screen here. I will have PC codes for both this version and the sort of Balteus mode version that I have as well. There'll be PC share codes for those in the comments in the description. Unfortunately, if you're not on PC, there's not really anything I can do for you regarding the decal painting and stuff like that. It is what it is. You can replicate the basic colors here pretty easily. The RBG values will be in the description, and for the material space, it's black is material 17, the purple is material 30, and the silver is material 35, right? Pretty simple though. I did decide to go pretty light on the decal painting for IOD-2. Maybe going to go a little crazier for IOD-3. I haven't decided yet. But basically, again, just like IOD-1, I've got some tentacles on the legs. This time they're sort of resting on top of the reverse joints, and eyes and whatnot kind of all over the place. Got to keep that Lovecraftian thing. The eye is always staring. Of course, the eye on the back that sees you every time you deploy it. Just like one really big eye on top of the flat head. I really like this head, by the way. I like this head a lot. Yeah, nothing too complicated. Decided to keep it pretty simple again. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks good. I like it personally. But yeah, not really too much to say here. Let's go ahead and move on to the assembling. A quick look at the weapons now. Again, I do have two primary weapon loadouts that I use for this build. The first here is double triggered laser handguns. Again, I really love these weapons. They're very excellent double triggered. Good damage output, good impact. You can fire them basically as much as you want. Just great weapons all around, right? Really hard to overheat. Just really, really good. Great, excellent main hand weapons, especially, again, double triggered. And the other weapon loadout I use is, of course, two siege missile launchers. I primarily use this for things like AC duels and stuff like that, but this is just an absurd amount of missiles. Fires so many missiles, and you can do a lot of damage very fast if you get basically like a full volley of missiles on something. And I do like to call this Balteus mode, right? Because you're just firing so many missiles. Since it's a reverse joint, you've got excellent in-air mobility. You jump really high. Balteus mode felt fitting, right? That's really all there is to say. Oh, I almost forgot the missile pods on the back. So I do use the 10-cell missile launchers by Furlong Dynamics. I mentioned it before, but these are my favorite missile pods. Really, really good, just all-around solid stats here. They've got decent guidance, They've got great locking time. I just really love these missile pods, and if you land a full body volley of all 20, they can do a pretty significant amount of damage and impact buildup, right? Just pretty good missile pods all around. And now that's all there is to say about the weapons. Let's go ahead and get into the frame. Now for the head, I'm using the Tianxiang Hen. Basically, it's just, I think it looks really good with the Firmeza core. It's light. I did need to kind of shave off a bit of weight for this build, but mostly I just thought it looks really, really cool with this core. I really like it a lot. Big fan of this head. Yeah, that's the main reason. For Mesa core, I needed pretty decent generator output. I also wanted a pretty lightweight core as well. So the Firmeza core was kind of an obvious choice. It is also one of my favorite looking cores in the game. So that was a big plus. For the arms, we are using the Nocturne arms. Big reason here is just that they have really, really high firearm adjustment. I also think it looks good with the Firmeza core. So that's another plus. It's mostly aesthetics. But again, definitely the stats here are very nice. Really good firearm specialization. Very, very good tracking with these. It's pretty good arms. I like them a lot. And then finally for the legs, we've got the Mind Beta reverse joint legs. I kind of set out this build knowing I wanted to do reverse joint legs because I wanted them, have decent kicks. Although I don't kick nearly often enough. And unfortunately, the Caswar legs just ain't carry enough. So and the chicken legs are just too slow for what I wanted out of this build. So the Mind Beta legs were kind of the very obvious choice here. So, not too much to say. I also do really like how the feet look on that. So, overall, I'm really happy aesthetically with this build. I love how it looks. At least for the, with the frame, right? I love how the frame of this build looks. So yeah, it worked out really well, right? And that's all there's to say about it. Let's go ahead and get into the internals. Now for the boosters, I have, of course, gone for the gills. This is intended to be a fast, post-combat, high maneuverability build. So it's pretty much either the gills or the Alulas, and unfortunately for the Alulas, it's just too heavy. I mean, much better boost speed, of course, but the quick boost reload time is significantly worse, right? So the Alulas were kind of out of the question, so the gills it was, right? Not too much to say there. For the FCS, I am, of course, again, I know, using the Talbot is good. What can I say? Good close range, good medium, good missile stats. It is what it is. Once again, I use the FCS, the Talbot FCS. And then finally for the generator, I actually was originally using the big coral generator, the NGI-000. Because, it's lighter, right? That was the main reason. It was lighter. But I quickly realized it's only a slight improvement in terms of mobility here, like literally 1 extra boost speed and 0.1 less quick boost reload time. So I did switch to the Santai because even though I have grown more fond of the coral generators recently, I do still prefer regular generators. So the Santai is the obvious choice here. Really big energy capacity and good energy recharge as well. Not too much to say here. I considered the Ming Tank, but just don't have quite enough energy capacity with it, right? It's very slightly short on energy load. I'm sure I could probably tweak it to get the energy I need, but I don't want to. So Santai it is, again, very good generator. But the core generator also works just fine if you prefer those, right? And yeah, that's about all there is to say about the internals. Now, of course, use Assault Armor is my preferred expansion. And yeah, that's it for the build. That's all there is to say. You can stick around for gameplay footage in a couple seconds. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Is that Sula? Pitiful dog. I feel sorry for you. I really do. You may have survived a little longer. You had a different master. 1249. Sula. He's an independent mercenary who survived first-gen augmentation. Don't think twice, 621. Kill him before he kills you. Where's 619 and 620? Dead? Which one's it, Ike? Walter, stay away from the watch point. Confirmed. Enemy AC destroyed. Forget about him, 621. You did good today. Back to work. Penetrate the control center and destroy the target.
Raven, get clear.
At 30%.
The enemy can't take much more. Enemy systems down. It's silent.